all the time, whose job is it to control your teenager? More often than not, parents will say it's their job, as the parent. And I always say, no, it's your teenager's job to control themselves. Now, just like with any skill in life, it takes time. You don't learn how to ride a bike the first time you get on. You don't learn how to drive a car the first time you sit in the driver's seat. So this skill of self-control, self-discipline is a learned skill. And unfortunately, with most teenagers, I always joke like long-term planning with a 13-year-old is, what are you doing this afternoon? Long-term planning with a 16, 17-year-old is, what are you doing this weekend? So a lot of times in our brain's development and its ability to really project consequences, is to look into the future and say, how is this event going to affect me, not only today, but maybe a year from now or 5 years from now? That's a learned skill. It's a developmental skill that really takes time. 13, 14-year-olds really don't have the ability. Now, there's always kids that maybe are more mature than other kids, and they have that ability, but that kind of generic teenager really doesn't have that ability, which is why it's so important for them to have some type of external regulation, some type of, whether it's a parent, a lot of schools that issue technology, make kids sign technology contracts about their ability to access certain sites. But the more important part is really the accountability, is to have somebody there. Now, we're working with that teenager ultimately, especially once they become an adult and maybe move out the house or go off to college or get a job, is to have that ability to self-manage, is to look at what they're doing and ask themselves kind of those critical questions of, is what I'm doing working? Is this helping me? Is staying up till 3 a.m., looking at videos really helping me? Or is it making my day at work a little more challenging and more difficult to focus? A lot of employers nowadays really have limits on technology because they're recognizing that the productivity of the young workforce is dropping. So it's really just about helping them to understand it's a process. It takes time, but we want to actively work on it, just like any other skill, whether it's riding a bike. Well, you fall down and you skin your knee and it hurts, and you might not want to ride it again, but you get back on and you try again and you fall down again, but you get back on. And so in time, we learn how to do things. And so that ability to self-regulate and self-discipline, it's a skill that they really need to be taught, and they're at an age to where they can actively participate in that versus a young child to where maybe it's the parent's responsibility more to, discipline the child, help the child regulate themselves.